Hey everyone, welcome. Thank you for everyone in the audience. I appreciate you showing up today. Outside, obviously, it's super nice out. And today, I just want to share a little bit about my story getting into real estate and some of the things I learned early in my not real estate career that helped me so much when I got into real estate. So backing up, I was getting out of college, really excited for that first new job, right? So I go to a career fair, I go through some different booths, and I find one that's financial services. And I'm like, Wolf on Wall Street, let's do it. I was gonna be a financial advisor, stock trader, you name it. I had this grand illusion that that was something I was gonna hang my hat on. So graduation for college, I got a nice leather briefcase. I've got a business card holder with my name engraved on it. And then I got a pen and pencil also with my name engraved on it. So as far as like getting set up, I was set, right? I felt like I was gonna do great things in the financial services or stock trading industry, right? Well, come to find out long term, it's not as glamorous as what I had imagined. But backing up, I went to this is 100% commission, and I went through training. Now with the training, we were supposed to start creating our business with 250 names. So 250 names of people that we could call upon that we were going to basically try to sell them a product. Now, when you're starting out in that industry, you're pretty much an insurance salesman. So that's what I was. I sold insurance, life insurance, and disability insurance. We also got our Series 6 and 7 and 63, which would allow us to do securities trading. But the reality is we didn't make any money up front, or very little money with that. So the company I was with, the financial service company I was with, it was very much your life insurance salesman, at least for the first 5 years. I was like, okay, not quite Wolf on Wall Street, but I can do this. Let's do it. So in training, the way I got through training was more or less very harmful for myself in in starting that business, right? So remember when I was supposed to start with 250 names, I had 30 to 35 names written on a notebook piece of paper, some just emails and some just phone numbers that I was going to call upon to do this job. Now, I don't know if I was just so naive that I just didn't understand, or it was all new, or I just had this grand vision of what I was going to do. But I get to training, and the only reason I got through training and this company continued to work with me is the instructors and the trainers liked me. That was honestly the only reason that I can think of that I made it through that training, and the whole marketing and the scripting, everything. Now, I did all of the work. I did the scripting, I did the marketing plan, but it was all just kind of like another college assignment. It wasn't like I'm going to just jump in and be successful. It was more like, well, this is what they told me to do, so I'll just do that, and then that'll be done, and I'll just move on to the next thing that they tell me to do, right? So day one, I get through training and I show up Monday morning. I'm like excited, right, to start this. Not fully grasping on what I'm gonna have to do that day, but I'm excited. So we're supposed to start there, be there by 7, and we're supposed to be on the phones by 7:10. So every morning, Monday through Friday, get there, be on the phone 7:10 to 8:10 in the morning. So 1 hour every morning to start our day. That's what we were supposed to do. Well, I get there 6:15 because I'm excited, right? I set my alarm clock early. I had a good breakfast. Like I'm really excited. I get there. On my desk is my business cards that I had ordered. Sweet. Now I'm like 100% official, right? So I put them in my business card holder with my name on them. I put it with my pens with my name on them in my leather briefcase. So I'm all set, right? I then proceed to sit down, talk to some other people that were in the training class, and then that 7:10 is coming up pretty quick, and I'm like, okay, let's do this. And it kind of dawned on me and hit me at that stage that oh crap, I am not ready for this. I am deathly afraid of the phone. And I don't know why that didn't hit me previously, but for whatever reason, it didn't. But 7:10 that morning, it hit me, and it hit me with a ton of bricks. So I was doing everything I could to avoid the pain of calling people. I had my list out. I wasn't doing anything with it. So I was clicking around on my computer, at the time probably checking MySpace, doing everything I wasn't supposed to do, or would have no impact on my business. It was all negative. It was just busy stuff that I felt like my brain was more or less doing the two. So the brain does two things really, really well. One, it seeks out pleasure, and two, it protects us from pain. So in this scenario, my brain was protecting me from pain. The pain of calling people was so great that my brain said, let's not do that. Let's do everything else that we could possibly do to avoid the pain of calling. So that's what I did. I called, or didn't call. I sat there and I clicked on my computer and did everything I could to find stuff to do. And then it was like 7:25, 7:30, and I'm like, yeah, let's go get a soda. Let's go get a snack from the snack bar. Let's go to the bathroom, and then we'll come back. Well, I wasn't thirsty. I wasn't hungry, and I surely didn't have to go to the bathroom. That was not even close to the reality. I just was looking for things to do. So I go in the conference room where they have the candy machine and soda machine, and two other people from my training class was sitting in there talking, doing some scripting practice. Now, we had already done scripting practice in the actual training, so there was no reason that we had to do the scripting practice. They were just in the same boat that I was, and that they were afraid of calling. They did not want to call. We're all afraid of the phone. That was 100% it. No, I'm not saying everyone that gets into that business or in real estate is afraid of the phone, but it's a common thing that we're going to look for items and things that are going to occupy our time in the thought process that we're doing something productive, or our brain is just telling us to do that because it's the pain of having to do what really matters in real estate or financial services or whatever that is. So I sat down with these guys and we all just start BSing, right? We start talking how great this business is going to be, how much money we were going to make, how successful we were going to be. Three guys that were afraid of talking on the phone was going to be successful in financial services. No, not going to happen. And I would say the same thing in real estate. It just is not going to happen. You have to be comfortable on the phone. At least that's my personal opinion. So much of this business, even though we've had so many changes with technology, it is still a phone business. And getting people to like you and have like a connection, it just has to be done over the phone or in person to have the same effect as 1,000 emails. It's just never going to be the case. So back to this room, we're all BSing, talking, and it's like 9 o'clock now. I'm like, okay, we all kind of feel safe where we could go back to our cubes and not have everybody around us, right? So we're all in cubes. To paint you a picture, cube. So anytime you're on the phone, people would hear you, and you would hear like what you're talking about, how your scripting was. Excuse me. And that just that was probably the biggest terror of any of it, was that we were afraid that other people were going to hear us, right? So like when we go to script practice in real estate, and you have to make a phone call or you have to script in front of other people, that's about as scary as it gets. Talking on the phone to a potential client, not as scary. So that's why we practice those things in person with your mentor, your friends or family, the people that are going to be you think are going to be the most critical. That's why we do those things. So 9 o'clock, I'm back at my office cubicle. Go back to my computer, checked in my MySpace in case someone had messaged me. Who knows, right? I don't even know how I got through that day, but I made it to the next day. And that whole week, 2 weeks, I made it 2 weeks. And I would say in that period of time, I did like 15 minutes of like work. Like to this day, it was so harmful for my business. It set me back so far because I had to overcome all those fears again just to get back to day one. If I would have just done the work day one, I would have been so much further ahead, and that business wouldn't have taken me as long as it did to grow. So finally, I get up the nerve that I'm going to have to make some calls. And I think I'm honestly on like 2 weeks into this business. And I get my list out of 30 names. And I'm like, ready to dial the phone. Here we go. Well, maybe I'll go to the bathroom first. Okay, I go to the bathroom. Got to get the nervous pee out. And that's really what it was. Like, I didn't have to go to the bathroom. I was so nervous, right? I'm just sitting there freaking out. So I pick up the phone. I call. Doot, 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 and I'm like, please don't pick up. Please don't pick up. Please don't pick up. Please don't pick up. Voicemail. Yes, I got the voicemail. Leave a message. Hey, this is Matt. Blah 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 blah. Financial services. Just give me a ring back. I wanted some information I wanted to share with you. I got through about 5 names. And I'm like, all right, cool. I got to call it for the day. That's all the emotional drainage that's all the emotion and stress that I can take for the day. I'm going to go home. And when I went home, I felt so bad that I was like disappointing myself. I was disappointing my boss. I was disappointing everything that I was excited for, right? So at the end of the third week of doing a total of maybe 30 minutes of work, spent a lot of money on the soda machine, a lot of money on the snack machine, and a lot of nervous peas in the bathroom. I had to go meet with my mentor or my boss, right? And he sits me down. He's like, so, looking at productivity and everything, it looks like we have some room for improvement. And I'm like, room for improvement? Man, I didn't do a thing. Is what I'm thinking in my back of the head. But all right, I want to keep my job, my 100% commission job that I'm making no money on. I want to keep that. But I'm like, okay, I'm gonna keep this job. So I got to get him to like me. I got to make excuses. I got to just do whatever I can to come out of my mouth so that he understands my situation. And so we started talking, and it got to the point where I almost had like a peace come over me. Like, you ever have that, guys? Like just this peace. So you're like, I just have to be honest, right? Yeah, anyone have that? Okay, so I said, his name was Terry. I said, Terry, these things aren't going real well, man. I don't feel like I'm really cut out for this business. He said, oh, really? Tell me about that. I said, well, in the past 2 or 3 weeks, I don't think I've done anything productive. I've done an hour worth of work, and I exaggerated. It was probably 30 minutes, 15, I don't know, 10 minutes. Everything could have been wrapped up in nothing. No time at all. But I said, Terry, I'm deathly afraid of the phone. And he goes, oh, is that all? Oh, we can fix that. I'm like, you can? He's like, yeah, man, everybody has that. That's like such a common thing. People come in this business. That's not a problem. I'm like, great. All right, what can we do? Read a book? Like, you got an audio book for me? A book to read? Like, what's going to get me on the phone? And he said, well, go talk to my assistant real quick and grab the phone book. I was like, it's kind of an odd request. Who does he want to call? Okay, whatever. So I go out and grab the phone book from the assistant, go back in his office, and he goes, I'll just pick a letter, Matt. I said, pick a letter? Man, this is weird, but okay, M. Matt, M, let's go with M. Turns to the M's, and he's like, awesome, okay. He picks up the phone and dials the first M on the list, last name M, right? First one on the list. This is before Yellow Pages online, and you could get any information anywhere. So this is probably 2005, 2006. Excuse me. And he starts calling the first 5 numbers in the phone book. And I'm like, the switch kind of goes off in my brain like, uh-oh. Okay. So he gets to the 5 names, and he's like, has a really good conversation with the number, with like the 5th call. And I was like, oh, that was pretty easy. He set an appointment with the guy, and I'm like, or girl, and I'm like, man, this guy is amazing at his job. All right. So he turns the phone book around, hands it to me, said, all right, you make the next 5 calls. I'm like, Terry, that just ain't going to happen. He's like, oh, yeah, it is. We're not leaving this room until you make those 5 calls. Whoa, okay. I'm not sure how long it took me to get the nerve up to dial those 7 numbers. Or I don't know if it was 9, number 6, whatever. I'm I don't know how long it took me to get those numbers up, but it took a while. So, and I'm thinking in the back of my head, please leave a voicemail, please leave a voicemail. And somebody answered the phone, and I pretty much just said, hung up the phone. I didn't know, everything, all the scripting I had learned and everything that I had been taught just went out the window, and I was so nervous and so scared, I more or less just had to hang up the phone. And Terry looks at me and is like, yeah, you might want to call that guy back. I was like, no, how about I just go to the next one? I might get a voicemail then. He's like, no, we're going to call number one back. Call him back, and I finally got out like, hey, sorry about the bad connection there. This is Matt calling with such and such company. I'm in your area looking to go over everyone's portfolio and current insurance plan. Would you have 5 minutes to talk with me? Maybe it was 15 minutes, whatever it was. So anyway, I got through the next 5, and I'm like, I thought I was emotionally drained previously when I had to do that on my own a little bit, and I was just praying for a voicemail. I was so done emotionally that I was almost like I need a nap. So he's like, okay, Matt, your assignment is by next Friday, and today was Friday. By next Friday, I need you to go through all the M's. If you call through all the M's, I can guarantee you're going to have such an amazing impact on your business, and I'm going to let you keep your job. I was like, go through all the M's. All right, well, I got through those 5. I think I'm emotionally done for the day, so I'm thinking I'm going to leave this office and go home. And I go back to my office, and I start packing stuff up, and my cubicle, and Terry walks by, and he's like, what are you doing? I'm like, Terry, I'm emotionally spent. He's like, Matt, do you know how many M's there are in the phone book? If you don't start and do this consistently for hours every day for the next 7 days, there's no way you're going to get through it. And I'm like, 7 days? We don't work Saturday and shoot. So he's saying I have to, oh no. So I sat back down, and Terry's like, Matt, I'm sitting with you. I'm going to sit right next to you for the next 2 hours and listen to you make calls. And I look back at that, and that was probably the single best, amazing thing any leader, mentor, or whatever you want to call it could do to help me at that stage and help me overcome my fears, whether true or not true. And I stayed there for, I want to say it was maybe 4 to 5 hours of pretty consistent calling. And I made what I felt was like a pretty good dent in the M's. It was not a good dent. There's a lot of people with M as the last name. Matson and Madison and you name it. There's a lot of them. So I finally get to the end of the day, and I'm like, all right, great. Looks like I'm going back Saturday, coming back Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And something amazing happened. I want to say it was either Tuesday or Wednesday the following week, after I was consistently overcoming my fears, consistently having to get myself through it. And I'll tell you, the scariest part every morning was that first 10 minutes. Always. My scripting was never perfect. I would always fumble through things. It was never to the caliber that I felt like I should be able to express myself on the phone. And it was Tuesday or Wednesday the following week. So what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll say 5 days of consecutive calling. I set 7 appointments. I had not set a single appointment, by the way, but in those other previous days. That day, I had set 7 appointments. And I was no longer, what I would say, deathly afraid of the phone. When I started this, I would have rather jumped out of an airplane. I would have rather had spiders put on my face, and I'm afraid of spiders. I'm deathly afraid of spiders. Anything would have been better than being on the phone. And when that Wednesday happened, that was a complete mind shift. That changed my entire financial services career. And honestly, it changed everything for when I got into real estate and my entire real estate career. It was such a game changer. So it doesn't have, when I'm talking about this stuff on the phone, it doesn't have to be, hey, I'm afraid of calling with real estate or whatever, or sales. It could be something different in your mind that you have to overcome because you know it's in the best interest of your business and for you to meet your financial and success goals in whatever industry you're in, whether it is real estate or not, any sales career. So Wednesday, I was so excited, man. I left there with more energy and more emotional power than I had ever been. Thursday, and I got this. I want to say it was like 5 or 6 appointments the next day. And then Friday, I was keeping a very close eye on getting through this EMS, because now I was kind of having fun. I was actually enjoying being on the phone. And when you're enjoying being on the phone in that industry, you're going to do well. Like that's like 90% of what you do is being on the phone. So, and I would say with real estate, that's a pretty good benchmark too. Yeah. So Friday morning, I had, I left, I want to say it was like maybe 1 or 2 or 3 calls left when I go into Terry's office for our second, follow-up meeting there. And I was able to confidently tell Terry that I was no longer afraid of the phone. And I'm going to actually sit down and I'm going to finalize this with him and make those final 3 calls. So that's a little bit of me overcoming some major, huge emotional and mindset problems that I had getting into a sales industry. And real estate, I feel like, is so much in line with everything that I had done previously with that career. And honestly, the biggest reason is that I got out of that business and got into real estate was I didn't feel like I could be Wolf on Wall Street, young and naive, and I didn't want to be what they wanted me to be, and I wanted to do something different and maybe a little bit more on my own, like real estate. And so that's a little bit of my story. I really appreciate all of you listening to it. If you have questions about anything related to real estate or anything related to sales, overcoming some mindset issues, I would love to sit down with you, just kind of share additional information about my story, right? You can only fit so much in to a 30-minute video or 30-minute meeting here. So yeah, I'll take questions, and anything I can do to further help you guys along your path, please let me know. Thanks.